Okay, I'm going to start by creating a drawing view with a parts list and the balloon pullouts to use to number the parts. So to start off with, I'm going to have my exploded view open in my presentation mode, and I'm going to go ahead and start with a new drawing file and create that. And of course, this comes in as a type D, so I'm going to go up to sheet 1 and edit that sheet and make that a type B. I can keep my ANSI large because I've got plenty of room for it, and I'm going to go ahead and place that base view, which is, of course, that exploded view. I can make this a little bigger. I've got plenty of room for it here, so let's go ahead and blow that up. It comes in as, pretty small. I think I can take this up to a half. Yeah, it looks like it's good. Let's just move this up. There we go. If I need to, I can change that title block if I need to make it a little smaller, but let's go ahead and go with this. So I've got my base view in here, and the next thing I need to do is add a parts list. So I go up to Annotate. Across the top of Annotate here, there's a parts list. Click on that. First thing it's going to ask is what file that am I going to pull my data from for my parts list, and of course the only one I have open right now is that full assembly IAM. In my BOM view, I'm going to go down to parts only, and then I'm going to hit OK. This will create a basic parts list. And you can see I've got all the different individual parts that I need for this Automoblocks vehicle. But I'm not real happy with what this looks like, so I can edit this. I'm going to add in, let's say, some mass and volume information, and let's show you how to do that. So if I right click onto here, try that again, just double clicking on this will open up the parts list menu, and here I can change some basic information. For example, on the far left side is the column chooser. It's very useful for adding or removing columns. I'm going to get rid of this description because I don't need it, and I'm going to add, it's alphabetical with some set numbers in here, so I've got mass. So I'm going to add that, and I'm going to add volume. I'm going to hit OK. Now you can see this defaulted to pounds mass and cubic inches, which wasn't really what I want. I'm going to change this to System International metric system parts. So again, I go to the column, I can right click on the column, and here it says Format Column. And I apologize for that, it did not catch. There we go. Hit Apply Units Formatting. Okay, so I have the unit type as in mass. Over here is the units, and I'm going to switch this to grams. Hit OK. Let's try that again. Format column, mass, grams, OK. There we go. Again, do the same thing with the volume. Make sure I highlighted the whole column with that time. Format column, apply unit formatting, and let's change this to cubic inches, or cubic millimeters, centimeters, and OK. Apply that, and OK, and there's my table. Now you can see this is kind of scrunched up here, and I have lots more room than I need over here, so I can adjust the size of this table a little bit, making some of these columns a little smaller, making this one a little bigger, and let's make this one a lot bigger. There we go, that looks a lot cleaner. Now, when I'm looking at this and I want to know, not all the time it's really clear what your T9 passenger section is. Is that this section, or this section? So what I can do is number those parts. And the neat thing here is that Autodesk is already going to number them for me. So it knows that this part right here is a tire, and that tire number is number 9. So here's the balloon tab right here, and if I go and click on a balloon, I click on one of the parts like a tire, and I'm going to drag that part. Sorry, I didn't mean to click on it like that. There we go. If I drag it over to here, and I left click, that places it in, and I could, if I need to bend around a corner for something, I could do that. Just kind of like when you do that section view. I'm going to hit right click and hit continue, and you can see it put number 9 right in there for me. So that's going to be good. Now I'm just going to continue to bubble unless I hit something else, and I accidentally put this little bubble in there and I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to right click and hit OK or escape. Now I can move this one around if I wanted to. I only need the one number 9, so I'm just going to delete it using the delete button. But again, I could just move this number 9 around as I'm adding numbers if it looks like they're starting to overlap each other. The goal is not to have your lead lines overlap each other. You want to try and keep your drawing looking nice and neat. So I'm going to take these and do these wheels all this way here. So let's add another balloon. We'll do this tire, this wheel, excuse me. Right click and hit continue. And then this axle, left click, then right click and hit continue. And I can just continue to do this with all of your parts. If you don't left click, by the way, if I just right click here, it's going to put that number way up in here, and so I won't be able to see it. So that's not going to be very useful to me. Let's just try to keep this neat. It kind of looks like one of those schematics that you use for making model airplanes. Let's see, you need this one. Continue. Let's see, I don't need to do these guys because they're just repeats of the same ones. I only need to do them once. And this is the last one, I think. And I could do a quick check. Let's see, I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where is... That's interesting. I've got 2 different axles listed on here. I'm wondering, that's why this one's green. I must have grabbed a different part number from 2 different number sets for some reason. So this one's listing an extra axle. Yours shouldn't do that. That's just my fault and how I grabbed my parts when I just did the assembly. It's interesting. Let's see, 11 is the T9 bed, which is right there. And that is everything. That's interesting. This is listed. Okay, so I'm done with the balloons, so I'm going to just hit escape. And that should be all of my parts in the blow up. So I could edit this if I want to. Like, this is lock, and it's really the connector. So let's go back in here, see if I can edit that. Just type in the word connector. See, connector, and hit apply. Okay. And there you see where it says connector now. So that looks a lot better. And if I want to, I could remove this T9 axle, or I could remove this other one that just says axle to prevent any confusion. I think this might be an axle that I created actually when we were doing assembly, but let's go ahead and let's get rid of this number 7 one. I don't really want to put it in here, so let's do this. Go back into my table, and number 7, parts number 7. Let's delete that. It's okay. All right, so now the part number 7 is gone. And all I did was I changed the visibility on it. I did not actually delete it out of the column list of parts. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one here as well. Prevents any confusion. I'm trying to find out where part 7 is. So there you have it. I've got parts 1 through 12, which really just is 11 because I don't have a number 7 in my list. When you do this, that probably shouldn't happen. Like I said, I grabbed a different axle part, so they ended up with 2 different axles. even though they're the exact same thing. And that's just how I did my assembly. And that's why one's green and one's gray. All right, that's how you build a parts list in Autodesk.